to the cloud. Recording. Very good. So again, welcome to another Pathways Roundtable. My name is Scott Brown. I'm the Program Quality Director here in District 11, and I am joined by my friend, the one, the only, the incredible Adele Borders.
Thank you, Scott.
So like we do for all roundtables, it's going to be a little bit of a structured conversation, but a lot of just answering your questions and helping you guide where we go. We are here as the resource to help you figure out where you're stuck, how to help use this so that it's beneficial for you, not just for Toastmasters, but outside of Toastmasters. And then maybe we'll just walk through a few things if you want to help show you where some stuff is. If you're trying to find some things or you don't know where it is, we'll be more than glad to do that. Adele, I've given you co-host duties so you can share a screen. If you ever want to share screen as well, you can just hop on and do that at any point you want to.
Okay.
So this is your time. This is an hour to help you. And Georgia, I have to say that I am hungry, and every time you take a bite, I'm like, I really should have eaten tonight. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Every time you do it, I'm like, oh, dinner. I forgot.
Yum.
I fed the dogs and forgot myself. So where do you want to go tonight? Where do you want to start with this Pathways conversation? I'm sure there are some questions out there that you would love to have answered. Where do you want to start? Besides making Georgia feel bad about eating dinner here. Jane.
I'm always the first one to start. Blame it on me. Anyway, I have a dilemma, okay? I was a past president of a non-charter Toastmaster club many years ago that never got chartered because we didn't have enough members. I did 8 speeches on the old legacy pathway. I mean, before pathway, that company communication, I was trying to remember. I did all 8 speeches in there. And because the charter never went through, I moved out of state. So I tried to reconnect with Toastmaster after the fact. Well, the problem I'm having is I just did my 4th icebreaker to get credit for. So I'm not getting credit for all of my previous speeches. And I have to start all over again. So I'm in the dilemma. I don't know how. I talked to Toastmasters. They said they won't give me credit for my previous speeches because it was under the old legacy method, which is a different skill set than the current pathway set. But it's like I have vocal variety, I have presentation skills, persuasion and everything. So I don't know if there's any option out there that I can transfer some of my speech credits.
Did you talk to a live person at TI at the headquarters?
So what?
Did you talk to a live person, to a real person, or did you email them?
Yeah, and I just started a new club. I just created a new club, so I just not started. So I'm on the 4th icebreaker, and this one I finally got credit for. But it's just like the whole book of over 2.5 years of speeches gone. So I don't know how to pursue it into Toastmasters. Say, hey, can I get credit for this? But.
Okay, do you want the official Toastmasters answer or do you want the answer? I can give you both.
Both.
Both, fair enough. Let's start with the official Toastmasters answer. When Toastmasters moved away from the legacy program, the official end date was last June. That was the end to be able to get credit for any of those speeches that we had given in the legacy program. So all those competent communicator books, all the advanced communicator books, all the competent leader books, that was the end of being able to get credit for that stuff, was the end of June. Because they are separate educational programs, Toastmasters wanted members to be able to start at the beginning, so start at the icebreaker, and then systemically work their way through every single step in order to complete all the levels, to get the maximum benefit and to see the pathways in action fully. Makes sense, right? You've developed this thing, you want people to see it through, and it's a whole different program. The speech projects aren't the same, so it makes complete sense. So do you understand where that part is coming from?
Right, that's what Toastmaster response was.
Correct. So let's just stop with that one. Do we understand why? Like, do we understand that theory that they have? Are we good with that part of it? Yes or no? Yeah, we're good. Yes.
Yeah, that's
okay.
what Toastmaster response
So,
was. But I can speak for a lot of people.
Correct. So let me move on to the next part. Okay, and this I think will help you. Okay, how many of you met the Toastmasters police? Has anybody had a Toastmasters police officer show up at your house? If you did, we call those stalkers. That's not Toastmasters police. They shouldn't be there. That's creepy and weird, and you should call the police. That's not a thing. There's no Toastmasters police out there. Would it be inappropriate? Is it within the 100% of the Toastmasters rules for you to utilize a legacy project for a current project? Should you just enter it in?
Yes.
No. However, can you just redo that same project as one of your current projects and just speed through these first couple steps? Yes. You have 8 speeches banked. You could complete 2 levels in 2 club meetings if you wanted to.
Okay.
You see how that works? So can you just take the manual, open it up, enter the details, submit it, and let somebody approve it? That's not the way it works. And if you get caught doing that, Toastmasters does frown on that very strongly. But you've already done the work. You've already gotten the evaluation. So if you redid the project and fit it into a current project within your pathway, it's fast. It's like getting the double secret X button on a video game, where all of a sudden you get to eat the berry and you go twice as fast.
Okay.
So, caveat to that, though. Caveat to that. Watch out for the date, because you cannot use the date that you have given the speech prior to when the pathways was implemented. Also, make sure you have not been given credit for that. You have not claimed it for your CC or CL or whatever.
Correct. And Georgia, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying to just enter the information. I'm saying that you could go to a meeting tomorrow and say, I'm giving this project again, and not have to really do much work and do that. And then the next week, do the same thing. And then the next week, do the same thing. And then the next week, do the same thing. So the preparation time that you have to prepare projects is absolutely infinitesimal. And I don't think I said that word right. It's really small. So you don't have to do much work for it. You can just speed through it. So you're not going to just enter the information. You're going to go to a meeting and say, this week, I'm going to take speaker roles 1 and 2, and you're just going to redo those projects. Or this week I'll do 1, next week I'll do another one, next week I'll do another one, and you'll speed through those 8 that way. So does that make sense to how to get around the kind of the shift that we had? Does that make sense now, Jane?
Oh yeah, it's just that I'm just concerned that there may be other people who are very discouraged of pursuing the Toastmaster because they feel like they're not going to get credit for something they have been working on for quite some time. For me, it was 2.5 years, but for other people, I'm sure there's other people in the same boat as well. When they move from one state to another, have to deactivate the membership and then reactivate, after on forever. But yeah, but I mean, there was no real clear statement.
Correct. There's no official Toastmasters statement on it. So, and Georgia, to your point, it's not that you're just trying to get approval from your club presidents. You're actually doing the projects. You're going and you're actually going to do the project as it's written within Pathways. You just don't have to go back and prepare all this stuff because you've already done that project. So when it comes to organizing a speech, that can be your research project, or it can be your give a speech, get some feedback, do it again. All of those things, because when you give the speech, you do you get the evaluation, you do a speech again. You don't have to do the same speech. So right there are 2 speeches you can do. It just speeds the process up.
Mhm.
And I know there's nothing written in Toastmasters about this. It's
Yeah,
not an
okay,
official
but I will
policy.
not go try and do it with ad nauseum over and over
Right.
again, but I
So
will
it's-
move forward.
Yeah, so you're not trying, so you're not cheating the system. You've already done the work. You're just you're reusing a speech you've already done before.
Recycling it.
You're
Yep.
recycling. Yep.
But since
Also,
this
you
is
can
a,
change the title of your speech and make it entirely a new speech that is based upon the old speech that you have done in the past.
But I hope to climb this time and stick with it.
but this is a pathways roundtable, and what has frequently been the issue for people that have joined anew and tried to get into pathways, they don't do their pre-speech evaluation within pathways. And that kind of messes things up. And that has, I suspect, discouraged a few people.
There is a system that the way the pathways works is you have to actually work through and click through that whole project. You have to go through all of the slides that are in there, all the screens that are in there. So if you just go in and you say, okay, I'm going to do an icebreaker, and you've been around for a while and you just do an icebreaker, or you have a great mentor and the mentor says, here's how you do an icebreaker. So you just do an icebreaker. If you don't ever do the work in pathways, it never accepts that it was actually done. One of the rules, not rules, but roles of mentors is to help individuals understand how to click through those to get them going. Through all of the roundtables that we've done for pathways this year, I think we've gone through that clicking through process on at least 3 or 4 of them. So if you have somebody who's stuck and isn't sure how to do that, send them back to the educational site, and about halfway down are all the pathways roundtables, which I think we've had 5 this year, 5 or 6 this year. Have them watch some of those, and if they have questions about how to use some of that stuff, all these roundtables we keep stored, which is why we're doing an educational library as a knowledge management system. But you're absolutely right, Doug. It is confusing, and if you don't do the things as Pathway says to do, it never finishes. It just sits out there forever. You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah, people skip the assessment. Because that's the most common thing that I've seen is a problem. Whenever I have a phone call, say, hey, I can't move past this, blah, blah, blah. And I would go, have you done the before assessment? Have you done the after assessment? No, they skip those. Like you said, Scott, they pick and choose what they want and then skip some of the steps.
Yeah, absolutely true. So does everyone know that there's a drop-down box in every project that you don't have to click through everything, that you can just go to the assessments real quickly? Do you know where that is? Have you seen that before?
At the bottom of, I thought it was at the bottom of the main screen for the project. You can.
Correct.
But what I can't figure out is, to be honest, I should go into Pathways every week, but I fail to. I've forgotten whether or not I did my pre-assessment for level 4. Is there a way to figure out if you have, or do I just do it again?
No, well, once you hit enter, it's done. If it's not there, you didn't do it.
I can't remember. It was months ago.
So the
You
drop-down
can
box.
redo it again. Yeah, if you want, you can redo it again.
Well, I
It will
don't
show
want
up.
to. I just want to know, is there a way to tell?
Yeah, if you just go to the
No.
drop-down box, it'll if you go to the drop-down box to the pre-assessments, if there's numbers there, you did it.
Okay.
If there's not numbers
right.
there, you didn't do it.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
It's just go to the drop-down box. Don't scroll through everything. Just go to that drop-down box. Would it be helpful for you to see that, where that is? Yeah, okay. I got a couple of head nods there. All right. Adele, I'm going to give it to you for a second so I can go and get logged into Pathways.
Okay. You're gonna log on to Pathways?
Yep.
Okay.
So go ahead and talk about anything you would like to talk to.
Yeah, one thing that I had a question not too long ago by Nora Toastmaster is they were concerned about, do I really have to do an HPL project in Pathways? Because the HPL is one of the hardest projects in the legacy. And there are only 7 paths that have HPL as one of the electives. Remember, you have a choice to either take HPL as an elective or not. So it's not a requirement anymore to get your DTM, whereas in Legacy it was. So that was a plus in the pathways because you have an option if you want to take the HPL or not. But I would say I have done 2 HPLs, and for me, I like them because it really hone you into being a leader. The planning, the goal setting, the mission. I don't understand why some people, Toastmasters is communication and leadership skills. And if you really want to hone on those leadership skills, don't shy away from the HPL. But if you really, really have to, avoid it, then by all means, don't pick it as your elective. Because that is one of the thing that scared people of pathways. They have to do HPL. It's no longer a requirement for DTM. All right, I see Scott is ready.
Thank you, and I completely agree. HPLs can be daunting, but it depends what you're doing outside of Toastmasters. So a lot of folks, it seems, over my time in Toastmasters, have thought that HPLs can only be Toastmaster projects, and that's not the case. As long as you have Toastmasters on your advisory committee, you can do stuff for work. You can do stuff for church. You can do stuff for life. Wherever it is, just have Toastmasters on your advisory committee. So it's not meant to be just for Toastmasters. All right, so Doug, so I am here in my my individual curriculum. I just picked the current level, the current path I'm working on, which is engaging humor. I went to level 4. You can pick any one of these. You can go to wherever it is. Let's say that I'm looking for building a social media presence, which I've already done, and I don't remember if I've done something in there. So if I go and I click launch, and I launch the project, it will slowly open up. And eventually come to first screen of the project. Yay, there we go. All right. So down here in the bottom. So congratulations, you completed. That's just where mine sits right now. So if I go to the bottom, you see down here in the bottom, select to move to another section. Does everyone see where I'm circling with my mouse down here at the bottom of the screen? Thumbs up, you see this. Okay. If you click that drop-down box, assess your skills before. So if I just click on assess your skills before, I have numbers. If I have numbers, that means that I was there. If it's blank, I wasn't there. So it's not a complicated project. It doesn't take it takes longer to load the project than it takes to figure out if you did the assessment or not. So does that help, Doug?
Mute.
Yeah.
That helps?
Yeah.
Okay, do you see how I got here? You want to do?
Oh, I know how to get there. I'm just not sure. You see numbers, so otherwise that gray circle wouldn't be there.
Correct. Okay. No gray circle, no, not been done.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Very good. Catherine.
Yeah, on that, the assessment, but I think it's the one after. I think one of the things that kind of needs to be emphasized is I'm pretty sure when you do the after thing, and I've done this several times where it won't open the next one or won't say I've completed. You have to make sure it's, I think, submitted or long. I mean, you can easily go through it. I think you can kind of miss it if you don't scroll down on the one screen. I would say that's the one.
You have to.
And then I had another question about something else, so I don't want to conflate those two. But I would say that that's been one of the things when we've gone back in is that I've realized that it doesn't show that I finished it, is that I guess I've forgotten to hit the after. There's some bottom box that says you have to like submit it or something.
Adele, I don't know if you get the same question that I get on this one a lot. Folks go in and they do all of the scores, So your before was 3 or after was 4, you put all the scores in, you do that last question, and it says, understand the benefit, and it says, I understand how this applies to my Toastmasters or outside of Toastmasters, whatever, and you put in the score, and you're like, okay, I put in the score, I'm done. You have to arrow over. So you have to, like every one of them you've done, and then you've arrowed. You hit a number, then you arrow. You hit a number, then you arrow. The last one, if you just hit the number, it never accepts it. You have to still enter.
Right.
When you do the arrow, that completes your path. And that I think is probably one of the 2 or 3 top questions that I get on a regular basis about pathways from folks.
At the bottom of the last page, there's a submit. Like
Yeah, you
that
have to
red
push
mark.
the page over. That's what you have to do.
And then you have to click the
here.
submit.
Right.
Yeah.
Click that over, and it automatically, when you click it over, it automatically goes to congratulations.
And then it should show back up on your little scorecard or whatever.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I had another question, but I don't want to.
Go for it.
Well, this is just, I think just a comment to Toastmasters in general. And I've started a second path. I haven't done the wrap up project for the first one, but I've been engaging humor, and I found it a little, and I had a comment from somebody else too that said that it seems to me that the first 5 projects or whatever in the path, whatever path you were in, it's repeated, but it's not. It seems to me that the icebreaker in that one ought to, and I've done it, but ought to have humor in it. And they don't really emphasize that. They just repeat it. And they don't, like the research project doesn't have anything to do quite with that. So I guess the comment might be to Toastmasters that it might be geared a little bit more to the path you're in. And then I guess the second question is, as some people, it would be like repeating some of those, the same thing for a second path. And I mean,
well, only levels 1 and 2 are kind of repeat, levels 1 and 2, and then levels 3 to 5, that's when you get to
they are and they aren't, because they are and they aren't, because I mean, to me, like engaging humor, the projects were the same as in presentation mastery. I just went and looked through it. It's really not geared to, and I don't know if that's because they developed that path and kind of threw it in at the end or what. That's just a.
So here's the one thing that Toastmasters doesn't talk about at all with any of their educational platforms. Even when we had Legacy, they didn't talk about it. How you use Pathways, how you used Legacy is very individualized to you. It's Pathways is a path. Pathways is a tool. How you utilize that tool and where you want to go with that is 100% up to you. So the way that I explain multiple icebreakers to people is this way. When you first meet someone, do you have to kind of introduce yourself and go through, like if you start to a new group, if you start to a new church, you start to a new club, you start to a new organization, you join Rotary, you go to Kiwanis, you volunteer for the city, whatever it is, you're going to have to, some point, someone's going to say, tell me about yourself. You can practice your icebreaker for different contexts, for different groups. So just because you introduce yourself one way in Toastmasters doesn't mean that's the way you're going to introduce yourself to a new work team, to a new boss, to a new organization, to a new gardening club. If only I knew somebody here who loved to garden. Exactly. So you can use it. It's a tool to be able to use. How you use the tool is 100% up to you. So the reason why the projects are all very similar is it gives you, again, the framework and the tool to say, here's something that we're going to give you to be able to help develop what you're trying to do. How you apply that is incredibly different depending upon the people. If what you want to do with Pathways in your life is 100% different from me and Adele and Doug, Jane, everybody else that you've ever met. So how you use them is completely different. And it's up to the Toastmaster then, to the member, to figure out how they want to apply that project, that level, that path to whatever it is they're trying to do. I hear a lot of folks kind of get stuck in the, well, Toastmasters says I need to do it this way. Again, there's no Toastmasters police. No one's going to come check to see if the thing that you got out of Toastmasters was the thing that they wanted you to get, or if it was just more beneficial to you. The goal is to use this so that it helps you, not Toastmasters.
And then,
Right. I'm just saying, I think that a lot of people expect, like, I mean, I know one person in one of the club said she just expected, you know, when she got into the engaging humor, and I'm in it too, is that it would be more upfront, geared toward humor and kind of, you know what I mean, a little bit more. And there's just like kind of the middle, you know, portion is, but then toward the end, it's, you know, the same thing. So, I mean, you're right. You have to, you know, I mean, I think she, like I said, well, okay, you know, the icebreaker, and that's going to have humor in it. And I'm going to try to figure out something with research that can kind of introduce maybe some humor, maybe not, I don't know. But, you know, you can gear it that way. But I think that I think it's kind of a independent study type of thing for the self-learner. And I think that it's kind of, how would you say it? Misnamed, maybe, but not misnamed, but maybe I think expectation, especially if that would be the first path you would choose, and maybe you're a newer Toastmaster.
yeah, and you got to remember, whatever TI provides, those are guidelines. You can flavor, it's like a recipe book. You can flavor it the way you want it, add a little bit, you know, sourness or hot or saltiness or whatever. So cater it to your own style.
I
is
agree,
what
but
I'm
I think
saying.
that we have to tell them that, because I don't think someone
Yeah,
who's not familiar with Toastmasters expects that. They're
right.
expecting to be walked. I think the old program walked you through a little bit more step by step, and the books were more geared, like storytelling was geared just to storytelling. Information, I can't remember, informative speeches was geared, very serious informative speeches. And I think people are expecting more from Toastmasters. And I agree, you can do what you want with it, which is the good thing. But I think that for a new Toastmaster or someone who's new to this program, they're trying to, I don't think they quite understand that. So it's something that has to be explained.
Just tell them what Scott always says. There's no police. There's no pathways police.
And Georgia put a question in chat. Would that be the job of a mentor to let new people know there's so much latitude in how we look at speeches? I would say it's not just the job of the mentor, but also the VPE, the president, the club culture, for all the members to kind of be on the same page. Yeah. We're kind of all in this together, and the more we can help individuals figure out how to use it for them, the more engaged they're going to be. It's those relationships. But Catherine, I 100% agree with you. When we had the old legacy programs, I really thought those were really geared much more towards specifics. This one is really designed so that we're going to give you the outline, and now you figure out what to do with it. If you were on last night and you heard Matthew Staten's speech about feedback, one of the examples he used was how to make a French omelet. Just because you have the same ingredients and tools to make the French omelet as what the French chef does not mean that your omelet is going to come out like the French chef's does. I think we're all expecting to kind of, where we go into it without having the practice of figuring this out, we're expecting to have perfection. And it's just a journey, it's a path. And we kind of forget that we are the ultimate laboratory for failure. And to experiment and try something new.
All right. I want to show you guys a tool that I use to track my progress. And let me do a screen share. All right. Can you guys see it?
That's beautiful.
I did not make this. I borrowed this like what Chris Fleming said, it's not original for me. I always steal stuff. The same thing. I mean, I think if you put out your stuff in the internet, you are welcoming people to use it. Just give credit. This is, I can't remember what district this guy belongs to, but this is his information. He's the one that designed this. The only thing I don't like about this is it's missing one path, which is the newest path, the engaging humor. But on here, you could see this is the path, and it has the levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, and it lists all the projects that are available. So you can pre-plan your path. So for instance, you say you're in level 1 right now. These are the projects that you need to do in level 1. Icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, and then researching and presenting. Any topic that you want. Right here in level 2, same thing. Understanding your communication style, understanding your leadership style, introduction to mentoring. Level 3 is when it gets more different trails if you want. So you can have a little bit more choice of what projects you can do. Active listening, connect with storytelling, and so on and so forth. Level 4 is the same thing. It gives you different choices. And level 5 is the same thing. So you can pre-plan what you are going to do. I was told when I was in the military, when you get promoted to a certain grade, you should already be planning 3 grades ahead. And it's the same thing when I'm doing pathways. When I'm in a level, so for instance, I'm in level 2, I'm already thinking and planning what I'm going to do for level 3, 4, and 5. So you just have to click on what path you are in. So for instance, effective coaching. These are the projects in the effective coaching. As you can see, level 1 and level 2 are almost the same as the dynamic leadership. But when it gets to level 3, that's when you have different choices of projects that you could do right here. And if you go on TI, the headquarters, if you go online, there are explanations of all of these projects right here. And I think towards the end, this guy, Saad, he has a little bit of explanation of what the projects, yeah, right there. So for instance, if you wanted to do manage project, here's the description, whatever is needed, and what kind of competencies you could earn in that one. He even put down 5 to 7, the length of the speech or the project that you were gonna do. So
where is this available?
Huh?
Where is this available?
I got this 2 years ago when Pathways started. That's why I said engaging humor is not, but if you are interested, I can send this to Scott and put it in the library in the District 11. And we're not stealing it because the guy's name is in there. And like I said, engaging humor is not in there yet. Maybe if I have time one of these days, I will add it. But I really like this tool because it has what I need. It has a DTM requirement, project description, the DCP goals, how you can help your club. And then, like I said, the different paths are listed in there, except for engaging humor. And then towards the beginning, he even put what are the paths and the competencies that you're gonna have. He explained the level right there. If you are the VPE and you wanted to keep track of your members, there's a blank page right there that you could use. So I really, really like this one. It's kind of old, and so if you guys are interested in this one, I can share it and send it to Scott, and then you guys can have it.
I'm interested in it.
No, me too.
If you send it, I will make sure it gets out.
Okay. Yep. Any question on this?
So Adele, have you seen the project descriptions on Pathways now? Have you been there to see where they put all those now? So you
Uh-huh.
don't,
Yep. It's if you go on hang on a second. Let's see if I am okay. Pathways. I cannot figure out a shortcut for this. If I open a path and go to home, it won't let me. I always do the back arrow.
yeah,
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
you're absolutely right. That's, yeah. It has
Yeah.
gotten significantly better over the years, though. I will definitely
Oh,
give
yeah.
them
Yeah.
that.
And it's
So
a little bit faster, actually.
yeah, that was one of the reasons why they moved to Colorado, is they needed to get more server space, and they were able to do that. The money that they saved in real estate, they invested in servers, because they had all this stuff sitting on too few servers, and it was just overwhelming everything. So it's getting better.
Yeah. Go to Basecamp. No, it's right there. I have not been to this Pathways for a long time.
So
I took a sabbatical.
if you want to stop sharing, I have it where I was pretty close to where.
Okay, I'll stop sharing and you show us.
Fantastic.
Oh, maybe
that works.
tutorial resources. Okay, go.
And you were right there. That was it. You were.
Yeah,
that was the
tutorials.
place.
Yeah.
All right. So if we go there, share this. Let us close. Close that. All right, fastest way. All right, so when you first go to your Toastmasters login screen, click on your welcome icon at the top, and that will take you to the 3 tiles at the top. They're the fastest ways to get into Pathways. If you go to Basecamp, so pick whatever club you're in, go to Basecamp. If you're in multiple clubs, it gives you a drop down for whatever club you want to actually enter as. And then down here, tutorials and resources. And it's the same as the bar up here. If you go to this, on the left-hand side here, see where it says project descriptions?
Yeah.
You have project descriptions for every single project, and then you can sort it because it lists every single one of them. So if you want to know, if you want to do the active listening project in Arabic, you have an option to do that. If you want to learn Arabic, it's probably a good way to do that, I guess. But pick whatever language you want, and then it will pick all the projects that are out there. So you can go and you can get a description for every single project that's out there. They posted all of these so that you always have an option to know what you're getting into before you pick a path. Because remember at the very beginning, we picked paths and we're like, I wonder what's in the path I just got. It was like Christmas. And sometimes we got a sweater and sometimes we got Nintendo. It depended how much we liked what we got to, if it worked or not. But look through here. I also like the evaluation resources that are in here. So again, if you pick English for evaluation resources, it gives you all of the evaluation guides that are out there so that it's a little bit easier to be able to send these on to evaluators, has every single one that's out there. I just think that it's easier to find from here, and then you can just attach it to an email, send it out to whomever your evaluator is in your club so that they always have your evaluation. They can just take pictures of it and send it back to you, and you always have the feedback form, just like we were live, only without the commuting part.
Do you know how we can find a particular evaluation in here?
Yeah, which one do you want? It's all alphabetical order.
It is in alphabetical order.
Yeah, engage your
Mhm.
audience, ethical leadership, evaluation and feedback. It says all alphabetical order.
All right.
B, H, I,
Yep.
L, M. Which one are you looking for?
I'm not looking for one right now. I've had
Oh.
in the past people say, well, I can't find my evaluation, and I know I can find it for them, but I've never found it easy to find for them.
Mhm.
Just when you pick the evaluation resource, just pick the language so you don't have all of these language choices.
Mhm.
That's a heck of a lot. Just pick English. That's the
And then it'll
language,
be alphabetical order.
and
Okay.
it's all in alphabetical order.
All right.
The one
Thanks.
you want, and you can scroll through and open it up. Good question, Doug. Thanks. What else? Very good questions tonight. Good stuff out there.
If you have a member that is hang up on having a manual, you know, I just gotta have something that I can hold on to because my computer's not on all the time or blah, blah, blah. And some of the advice that I heard is, well, you can have a printed material, you have to pay $25 extra for it. I am telling you, I was curious. I bought the printed material. So I paid $45, $20 for the path, and then $25 for the printed materials. So one path, instead of paying just $20, I had to pay $45. Do not waste your time because you can print anything free. All of these things, you can print it and have a paper copy of it, you know, paper copy of it. Do not waste your money on the manual because it's so funny because it says right here on the book, it would say, click right here to open the next page. How can you click on the paper? So what they did is they just printed whatever is in the online and then put it in a book, in a manual form. And then they even have a drop down menu on the manual. So save your money, tell your members, save your money. Don't be so hang up on the manual because it's so funny. And then when you get to the levels 3 and 4 and 5, they will give you whatever is the project that they want. You don't have the choices. You know how I showed you that you have 13 projects to choose from? On the printed material, it's the same project that they were like. There's one that I did not want to do this. I didn't want to moderate a panel discussion. I said, that's not what I want to do. But that is what's on my printed material. So you do not have an option. So don't waste your $25 on the manual.
There's one other option that I've not heard people talk about nearly enough. All the projects in there, before you go to print, you can save them all. So instead of just hitting print and printing a 25-page project, you can just hit save. I've saved every project. So I've already done 2. I'm finishing my second path. I'm kind of partway through my third one. I've saved every single project that's out there that I've been exposed to. So if I ever want to go back and I'm looking to do something individually, I'm looking to get credit for something for a club, I'm looking to work on something like online meetings. I wonder if we've ever done any online meetings that we could use this project for. Every single week we do something like that. Every one of these, like plan projects successfully, conferences, speech contests, open houses, all of that stuff. Just save them all on your computer. And then if you have one that you want to use, if you don't want to print it out, just email it to yourself on your phone, and you can always open the document on your phone and carry it around with you. So you don't have to actually print it. You don't have to spend the extra $20. You don't have to waste the money of paper and ink. Just save it, send it to yourself, and use it on your phone, and it works just as fine.
Hey, Scott, there's a question from Jane. How often does a pathway get updated? They don't update the path now that I've seen it. The only update last year that they did was before 2020, in 2019, you could only move one level at a time. Now you can open all the levels. And then the base camp managers, you cannot move until the base camp managers approve your level 1, and then before you can move on to level 2. Now you can move on to all the levels that you want without the base camp manager approving your level 1. The thing with that is the headquarters really they advise that you go through sequentially the projects, because it builds on, you know, the skills and the competencies build on the levels. But that's one of the improvement though, because you cannot, now you can open all of the levels at once.
Yep. And by having the ability to look at all of the projects out there, you can make better choices for which ones you want to do and actually plan out the path that you want to take, which is kind of an important process that we didn't have that option before. So Georgia, you're asking a question about, I'm not sure I completely follow. Not all members of TI are interested in credentials. Some unknown percent simply want the exposure to maintain their skills. How many members of TI actually want credentials through formal pathways? So do you mean how many complete a path?
My question is, in being at physical meetings and talking with people who are there prior to a meeting or after a meeting, they're not necessarily there for the specific pathway which Toastmasters is espousing. What it is they want more exposure simply being in front of a group, because Toastmasters is more friendly than, let's say, presenting at work or presenting to the Church General Assembly. They want just the general experience of being able to speak rather than speaking in front of a mirror and you get to talk to your dog.
Yes. That is 100% true. The reason why they have the educational program is because we want to give individuals a way to guide a developmental process for whatever it is that they want to do. Can you have members in your club that don't want to do pathways and still be incredibly valuable members of your club? 100% yes. Just because somebody isn't in the pathways doesn't mean that they can't be a fantastic mentor, a fantastic leader. They can't be the example for how to behave as a Toastmaster, all the leadership things that we learned from Toastmasters. It's not always about the educational part. Your club's not going to get credit. So if you have an entire club that's like that, then you as a club are missing out on some opportunities. But there's nothing saying that, again, no Toastmasters police are coming to your club. That's not a thing. So nobody's going to come and say you have to be in pathways. You don't have to be in pathways. It's way more beneficial. But if you have somebody that just wants to be there for the experience, for the social aspect, great. That can be a thing.
What I tell members that are like that, you know, oh, I'm not hang up on having medals and stuff like that and badges and everything. And I would always explain, do you love your club? Then do it for the club, because we need it for our DCP. We also need it for our district because we get district DCP also. And so once I explain that to them, they're like, okay, how many level 1 do we need? We need 4. So I need 4 people to do level 1. You cannot get what DCP point for one person doing 4 level 1s. We need 4 different people. And I would say that means we need 4 members to finish level 1, or so many members to finish level 2. So once they hear that the club needs them, then they're like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, because I have no desire to complete a particular pathway. With me, it's about imparting information. And if I was less electronically challenged, I might do something like what Sunny does and do a podcast or an online teaching session. I am electronically challenged. So it's the one-on-one, this venue is a challenge for me. I prefer the in-person meeting because I get the immediate feedback. Where here, unless I have everybody up on the screen, there's no way for me to get that personalized feedback. So for me, it's more, there's something that I've been researching that I find really interesting, and I would like to get that information to other people. And basically that's what I'll be doing when I redo my speeches that I have done, because the information is simply things that I have found interesting. The last member of the royal family of Hawaii, the story of Leilani Kalani and her tree, her banyan tree. To me, it was a wonderful story, and I'll end up doing that again because I think it's really cool. But I don't have a desire to have a certificate on my wall. And when you said that, do it for your club, I can appreciate that. That would probably be the only real reason, because I'm semi-retired. I'm not that involved in anything other than my own personal journey. So it's not something that I do with other people, except to share parts of it in person. So what you said, though, was very appropriate for me.
We need all of you. We need all of you, not just your time. We need your grades. We need your credential.
I think one of the things that we don't talk about quite enough in Toastmasters is that all of us who've been around for a while, we're role models for all of the newer Toastmasters. And they look to us for the example of not just how to do stuff, but what stuff to do. And if we set the example that we're going to follow an educational platform and we're going to use pathways, or we're going to be a mentor, we're going to be an officer, or whatever it is we're going to do, that next generation of Toastmasters is more likely to follow in our footsteps in a positive way for the club than to just come and take up space every week.
Well, but Scott, in order to espouse the pathways, I have to have a belief. I have to be able to convey that belief and the necessity of it.
I think there's a difference between espousing the belief and just once in a while doing a path, once in a while doing a project. Those are very different things. You can be an example without standing up in front of the club and cheering them on. You can be an example when you get called, when you get introduced as a speaker, and someone says working on project 3 from the whatever. People will hear that, and just that little example can make a difference in somebody else's journey.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure. Linda.
Yes. Sorry I got on late. I did have some questions. Those back in the ACL and whatever those advanced presentations are, there's leadership presentations. And do we get credit for doing those? It seems like we're encouraged to keep doing those type. They're very beneficial, especially we have a lot of new members. But I don't see that you really get credit in Pathways. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. All right. And then the second question is, when I just logged in, you guys were talking about how to save the paths or the projects. And you don't have to go through it again because I know we're close to time, but if somebody just wants to send me the directions, I'm real good at following directions.
So very easily, it's when you're working through your path and you get to the part that says print your path or print your project. So you're going through the individual project.
So I've never printed because I just do it online.
Right, but there's an option as you're going through to the evaluation resource. When you find the place where your evaluation is halfway through.
All right.
All right, so if you.
It's talking, I'm not getting it verbally. Sorry.
Okay, so
you have to send it, Scott, with a screenshot.
Yeah. So how about this?
Yeah, I'm visual.
Since we need to end this one, can you give me a call tomorrow, next week sometime, and I'll just walk you through how to do that. It's incredibly simple. What is share a screen and you can just follow through.
Because it seems like I end up downloading or launching things just because I want to see what it's about. But then I have all these things on there and it's like, did I do that? Do I remember why I even did that? So that would be helpful if there's a way to like take it back off without archiving it. But
just get
second question.
So to contact me directly, that Scott at Hardy Consulting email that comes out like on a way too regular basis for a lot of people.
All the time. Yeah.
That's me. Just email me. If you want to contact me, just email me. Linda, just set up a time, give me a call and send me an email. I'll be more than happy to walk you through it.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we are about 4 minutes away from the next session, so we need to end this one. So thank you all very much. We did record this. I will post this one tomorrow. Like I've been posting The first 2 days are already posted, so this one will be posted tomorrow. We're going to stop recording so we can then start another one, so we can let Deepti be able to practice her screen sharing, make sure her audio works, and